is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the A24 Archive. This is the series where I'm going back through, watching every A24 film and talking about it in length. I am actually having just an absolute blast watching all these films. It's so much fun going through and seeing new material and then revisiting old material, because some films that I really liked first time around, I'm even getting more of an appreciation for this time around. And the film I'm going to be talking about today, if you can't tell by my shirt that I'm wearing, is pertaining heavily to what is going on in our society right now, which, if you're uninformed to what's going on in our society right now, you're living under a rock. AFAB people, assigned female at birth people, their rights have been stripped away by the United States government in the worst way imaginable. Roe versus Wade was overturned. It's a terrible time in our country that literally women are being treated as second-class citizens and being viewed as lesser than everyone else. And it's a disgusting time to be alive. And if you're not aggravated, you're wrong. The ability for a woman to be able to choose, not just a woman, but an AFAB person, anyone with a vagina, is not able to choose what they want to do with their own body. It's a disgusting time to be alive, and you should be mad, and you should want to speak up and say something. And so this episode is about a movie that is pertaining to that subject matter, so that I thought it was perfect to kind of bring that up, and I'll obviously bring that into the conversation. And this was a film I'd already seen once before, and I loved it the first time I watched it, and I loved it this time around. And the film I'm going to be talking about today is Obvious Child, starring Jenny Slate. Obvious Child is directed by Gillian Robespierre. An immature, newly unemployed comic must navigate the murky waters of adulthood after her fling with a graduate student results in an unplanned pregnancy. I've actually seen a few films from Gillian Robespierre, and I think she's an incredibly talented director. She's someone who really likes to do these slice of lifestyle films that talk about really deep subject matter and look at it through a comedic lens, and I love that. She's worked with Jenny Slate several times, and I love Jenny Slate. I think she is such a talented comedian. I think she's a great actress. I recently talked about the film I Want You Back, streaming on Amazon. I thought she was great in that. I've watched a lot of films in her career. I can't wait to see this new film from A24, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, that she's the lead. I just think there's something about her. She's so charismatic and confident and just a brilliant actress, and this film is no exception. She's amazing in it. This film starts off, she's a stand-up comedian, she does this routine, she's talking about her boyfriend, and it's super hilarious, and she gets off stage, and her boyfriend comes to her in the bathroom and essentially says, oh, he was uncomfortable by all of this, he thinks their relationship's kind of falling apart, and that he's been seeing someone else, and she's just completely devastated by it. And in the beginning of the film, she's stalking him, kind of watching out for what he's doing, and you're introduced to her parents and best friend, and she works at this bookstore that's about to close. And so kind of everything in her life seems wrong. And she goes out one night to drink at the comedy club, and this guy, Max, played by Lacy, who every time he shows up in something, I always really like him. I know he's in The Office. He's been in a bunch of stuff. I think that he's a really talented actor who, whenever he does pop up in anything, I always really like him. Also, Gaby Hoffmann, who plays Nellie, who shows up in a lot of films. I really like her. She is just a really great comedian. This cast has amazing chemistry. But they go out drinking, and Max shows up, and he comes in, and him and Jenny Slate hit it off, and they're talking, and they get really drunk, and they end up going back home and sleeping together. Well, Jenny Slate had a wonderful time, and she's at home, and for a couple of days she starts to get sick, and she realizes that she's pregnant. And so she decides that she wants to have an abortion, and every time Max comes around, even though he's this really charming, inviting, and wonderful person, she kind of pushes him away because she wants to tell him about the fact that she's going to have an abortion, but at the same time she's scared that it'll push him away from her. And it's just this really vulnerable and realistic look at how a situation like this would occur. And there's a lot of in-depth conversations about abortion. Her friend Nellie that I talked about talks about the abortion that she has, and her mom even tells her a story about how she had an abortion when she was really young, and that her mother actually had to drive her out of the state to get an abortion. And what I loved about this film is the way that abortion is perceived in this film. It's not demonized. It's not looked at in this horrible, disgusting way. It's viewed through something that just happens to people, and it's a part of life. And even Planned Parenthood, when it shows up in this film, it gives you the idea, because I think conservatives think that you can can just go into a Planned Parenthood and say, I want an abortion now, and they're going to go, okay, lay down on the table, here we go. No, it's real consultation. It's people who are like making sure you want to do this with your life, because I don't think conservatives understand that even though women get abortions, how much psychologically it affects them, because there was something growing in their body, and it's like, you have to live with that. You have to deal with that. And there's already a lot going on at play, but being able to have that choice and that ability to do that in your life is such an important thing. And this movie looks at that through a really unique lens and through a comedic lens at times, and it's done so well. And I love that there's no judgment on Jenny Slate's character. It's so much more of just like, hey, making sure that she can be taken care of, and that this situation can be handled in the way that she thinks best. She doesn't think she's ready to be a mother. She doesn't think she's ready to raise a child. And that's something that I don't think enough conservatives in the United States understand, especially men that look at women and like beat them down over this. It's like, dude, you can go have sex with whoever you want and get anyone pregnant and just run away and not take care of the baby and not do anything you want. Well, what's a woman supposed to do in that situation? And then like conservatives use like, oh, well, sex should only be used for procreation, and all this really moronically stupid arguments that come up where it's just like, hey, regardless of whether or not you think it's okay, it should be accessible, because women will find a way to get abortions, and they'll do it in ways that might not be safe, and women will die. There's so many women who live in lower income communities that don't have the same access as someone who can just load up the car with gas and drive 3 states away to go get a procedure. Some people don't have that opportunity. The movie really kind of shook me up a little bit more watching it, because I have so many AFAB people in my life who I love so dearly, and it's terrible to me to see that they're being treated as a second-class citizen. And me being a man, it's hard because I've never had to go through something like that, but I just hurt so much for the women out there that have to deal with this. And if you are a woman out there that's watching this video, I'm sorry on behalf of the shitty government that we have, that you're going through this and that you have to worry every single day. And we as a community of people who are progressive, who I think most of the people who watch my videos are pretty progressive, have to worry that what's next? Are queer rights going to be taken away? Are there going to be ramifications for minority groups that are going to be taken away? It's just a really scary time to be alive. And so to watch a film like this, it was really poignant and beautiful, and I loved it. I think that this is an A24 film that everyone should watch. It's hilarious. Jenny Slate's chemistry with every character in the film is so good, and it's just a really well-written, well-directed, and well-acted film that I will watch multiple times. This is one of A24's I actually own on Blu-ray, and it's one that I will definitely watch multiple times in years to come. So have you seen Obvious Child? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I think this movie is brilliant. I absolutely love it. I think that it's so much fun, it's entertaining, and has a really great message. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, it helps me out a lot. It lets me know the type of content you're looking for, and I hope to put out more content in the near future. I've got a ton of video ideas that I'm planning. I've been uploading multiple times a week, and I look forward to getting more out there for you. And also on the topic of today, I think it's really important that if you have the means to donate to an organization that's going to help people in these areas where rights are being taken away. I'll try to include some links in the description to some different organizations that are great to check out, that are going to be there to help people and to really, try to support these communities. I live in Ohio, and our state immediately went into an effect to try to ban abortion right away again. Went to one of the protests downtown, and it was just really awful to see so many people so horribly affected by this. And I think it's important that if you have the means to donate to the right organizations so that we can stand up and fight against this. And despite me having a small audience here, I want to make sure that I'm using my voice for the right things. So if you do have the means and the opportunity, please, donate to these organizations. Use your platform to say something. Go to some of these protests. Show your support, because if people don't know we're mad, they're not going to fix anything. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.